What kind of experiences do people really need to go through in order to have a profound understanding? I recommend all hesitant young people to read this sentence repeatedly. Everyone's opinions and evaluations are temporary, only your own experiences and accomplishments will accompany you throughout life. Almost all worries and fears stem from one's imagination. Only when you really do something, will you discover how happy you can be. Observe the truly wealthy individuals around you, and you will find a common characteristic among them. They clearly know that this person is not capable, but they do not remind, direct, or act as a teacher. Even if their cognitive experience surpasses that of the other person, they will not offer advice. Do you know why? It's because giving guidance and lectures require energy, and the behavior with the lowest emotional intelligence is to constantly preach. The wise restrain their words while the foolish point out the faults. The ability to convince someone has never depended on reason, but on hitting a wall. The ability to awaken someone has never relied on preaching, but on suffering. Let go of the desire to assist others and respect their destiny. The biggest reason why people in the village can live to be over 90 years old is because they mind their own business. Leave the mud as it is, and let the lazy fish lie. A piece of rotten wood, and you insist on carving it into shape. Restrain yourself from correcting others' desires, and do not casually intervene in others' karma. The difficulty levels and costs of the game of society lock different people in, layer by layer. This is why there is a saying, adults are ultimately sifted out. How much money you can earn is not forged by time, but by the people in society who sift you out. Parents are weak, so we have to learn to do business to change our fate. If parents are strong, we have to learn to rely on powerful connections to enter government service. If the clan is strong, use the family's prestige to develop locally, but if the family is poor, then it's necessary to go to distant places to seek a way out. If the family members have a low level of education and have rarely traveled, then their so-called experiences are only for listening. Let me tell you a secret, as long as you worry about how others see you, they can enslave you. Only when you no longer seek affirmation from outside can you truly become your own master. Any skill that can make money, no one will teach you for free. Either you pay tuition, or the other party is truly willing to help you. Otherwise, what can be accomplished in 3 years may take 5 years. People don't need to be too understanding. You just have to form your own way of doing things and sincerely feel that there is no problem from the heart, then the people around you will adjust themselves and change into a mode and mentality that can get along with you. If you don't try, others will. It's very magical. This is called thinking of ways, conservation principle. No matter what kind of relationship it is, if it doesn't provide emotional value, economic support, or positive companionship, if it's not one of these three, abandoning it is the wise choice. I believe that women should focus on the points that make men attractive, such as genuine respect for women, strong learning ability, very strong action ability, keeping promises, clear personal planning, having goals, having requirements for personal emotional life, not being limited by their original family, willing to lead women to grow and nurture, and other personal excellent qualities. Instead of focusing on being handsome, good at dressing, being considerate and accommodating to themselves, providing emotional value in an all-round nanny-like manner, greeting in the morning and evening, sweet talk, and understanding the pleasures of life, which are variables and consumption-oriented traits. I have never seen a person who wakes up early, works hard, is cautious, and honest, complaining about their bad fate. But hard work is something that requires a particularly long-term and persistent effort. The soil for its growth requires a person to fight alone, enduring countless days of loneliness and solitude. Hearts can break, but hands can't stop. Do what needs to be done, continue moving forward in the midst of breakdown. This is the maturity a grown-up should have. One mindset of a strong person: you don't need to apologize to me. I have actively chosen to stay in this relationship every day, and it has nothing to do with you. If the outcome is lost, it is the responsibility that I, as a grown-up, should bear, I admit. Don't see yourself as weak, then there's no melodrama, no internal consumption, and you can start anew. Not only in relationships, but also in work and cooperative relationships, complaining less about others. These are all choices made by adults. A person can meet only a few people who genuinely treat them well in their lifetime. Although there are many things in the world that may feel fresh, there are very few that bring peace of mind. In this vast world with countless people, the fact that we can meet, get to know, and accompany each other can be considered destiny, or even more powerfully, one of life's miracles. It's really important to cherish it. In a woman's life, the most important thing to learn is not just making money or dressing oneself up, but having the ability to find happiness no matter how big the storms are. You cannot choose your birth, and sometimes luck plays a role in marriage, but the only way to lead a good life is to have the ability to adjust your own emotions. If you have loving parents and a good partner, cherish them. If family affection is lacking and you encounter an unworthy partner, then live for yourself. Life is already so bitter, there's no need to make yourself unhappy. I really like this quote from Russell: self-control is a person's top ability. Anything or anyone that drains you, just looking at them more is not good for you. Your role is not to make everyone happy forever. Don't feel like rejecting others is a huge mistake. Your own feelings are the most important. Pay more attention to your own feelings, it will reduce internal conflicts. The ability of execution is seriously underestimated. Most people don't need to increase their IQ, they just need to improve their ability to execute. Never complain. A sign of maturity is to transform resentment of, "Why did this happen to me?" into the realization of, "What is this teaching me?" When you change your perspective on the world, you will find that everything is the best arrangement. Dare to embrace success. If you are afraid of standing out, afraid of making a fool of yourself, afraid of becoming important, and afraid of taking responsibility, then you are afraid of success. How can you succeed if you are afraid of success? The day is long, long enough to see the sunrise to sunset. A day is short, short enough to do nothing but open and close your eyes. The most regrettable thing in life is not that you didn't live a good life, but that you didn't do any of the things you wanted to do. All true human happiness must come from persistent effort. The true value in this world is never easily attained. You must overcome laziness, impatience, and the delusion of instant success. Through self-discipline, restraint, and effort, a life can be achieved that brings lasting happiness and peace. I hope we can all become free and self-disciplined individuals. One must avoid becoming a valueless good person. Although such individuals often appear to be very popular, the so-called popularity is nothing but others pushing tasks they don't want to do onto them, turning to them as a trash can and a sounding board when they have emotional garbage to unload. These individuals may seem very well liked, but they are actually the most lowly. Extreme anger harms the liver, excessive contemplation harms the spleen, deep sorrow harms the lungs, and great fear harms the kidneys. Being irritable will remain in the uterus, while depression will remain in the breasts, stress will reside in the shoulders and neck, grievances will linger in the intestines. Seemingly just holding in your emotions, you're actually harming your own body. The more you suppress, always considering others and holding grievances only for yourself, the more likely you are to have problems. Heartache is because you don't respect the principle of value exchange, anger is because of your limited experiences, and complaints are because your family environment is poor, and you haven't exerted all your efforts to turn the situation around. That's the essence. It's not important who you know, what's important is recognizing who you are. As an adult, you should be clear about your own strengths and weaknesses, not feeling overly grateful for a few compliments, nor self-doubting because of a few criticisms. What you can and cannot do is not determined by others, but by yourself. The advantages of a high level of education are far greater than we imagine. Studying well can truly change one's destiny. At the very least, for the first 5 years after entering society, one's education will be constantly compared. Unless you have exceptional talent and abilities, you will be compared wherever you go. In the past, I used to think that grades were not important. Tsinghua University, Peking University, Fudan University, and Shanghai Jiaotong University only represent the achievements of student days. Later, I found that hard work is a habit, and it will run through my whole life. Everything that happens will be to my advantage. I adhere to the mindset of, I am always a survivor, not a victim. The same thing, a weak person will always focus on risks and losses, while a strong person will view it from the perspective of opportunities and growth. The more one sees oneself as weak, the easier it is to feel hurt, lose subjective initiative, and become discouraged from then on.